2901. Unfortunately, as we age, we tend to avoid vulnerability by avoiding change, so our learning opportunities are reduced and new learning slows. We've all had the experience of a reunion with an old friend, when listening to them saying how they've been, noticing how he or she has held on to some old beliefs that we discarded long ago. Probably the friend has not put himself or herself into a state of vulnerable openness for a long time. Personal growth involves trying out new behaviors, attitudes, and beliefs. Trying out something makes us vulnerable to failure and ridicule. When learning, we make mistakes, we look foolish, even absurd. Who likes that? Willingness to take chances in life, to try new experiences, challenges or activities, even though the outcome is unsure, demands being vulnerable while doing so. Open-mindedness is one of those activities that we must do deliberately, because we are naturally inclined to avoid the vulnerability it entails. 2902. Expectations influence children's behavior. After observing the amount of litter in 3 classrooms, Richard Miller and colleagues had the teacher and others repeatedly tell one class that they should be neat and tidy. This persuasion increased the amount of litter placed in wastebaskets from 15 to 45%, but only temporarily. Another class, which also had been placing only 15% of its litter in wastebaskets, was repeatedly congratulated for being so neat and tidy. After 8 days of hearing this, and still 2 weeks later, these children were fulfilling the expectation by putting more than 80% of their litter in wastebaskets. Tell children they are hardworking and kind, rather than lazy and mean, and they may live up to their labels. Tying the identity to the self is important. Children who were asked to be a helper were more likely to help in later tasks than those asked to help. When children think of themselves as tidy and helpful, they become tidy and helpful. 2903. If maintenance of a balance in a relationship requires much work, why bother aiming for the middle ground? The wonderful thing about relationships is that with the proper maintenance, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Ideally, both members get support to realize their potential as individuals as well as realizing the potential of the team. If things go sour, the tremendous energy drain of an irreparably damaged relationship can also mean that the whole is less than the sum of its parts. Pooling resources, as in a joint savings account, makes them optimally large. But if one person only deposits and the other person only withdraws, checks are going to start bouncing. Similarly, if only one person in a relationship is performing maintenance and the other is indifferent, their joint account will also wind up with insufficient funds. Overdraft protection might cover everyday necessities, but it won't help when something big comes around.